Hey, Angie Nelson here from theworkathomelife.com. Recently, someone left a comment on my channel asking me to share some of the many ways that I make money from home. And I'm more than happy to oblige. So today we're going to be discussing some of the many ways that I have earned money from home over the last 11 years that I've been working from home full time. Make sure you stay until the end of the video to find out how you can learn more about the industries that we're talking about today, in addition to some others. Now, if you are new to my channel or new to my blog, The Work at Home Wife, I have been working at home full-time since 2007. So for over 11 years now, I have made a full-time income from home. But over those 11 years, I have not made my money in the same ways. I sometimes joke that I've had 197 jobs over the last 11 years. That may be a little bit of an exaggeration, but maybe not. I've had a lot of different jobs. I've tried a lot of different industries. And that's one thing that I've always really enjoyed about working from home, is that you're really not mirroring your first work at home job. You really have the opportunity to try out a lot of different things that you haven't tried before and see if there are different, services and industries that you really enjoy or that make you more money than others, and where you'd like to really concentrate your time in going forward. And also don't forget that the online world is constantly changing. Every year we're seeing different types of jobs come online and different companies pop up. And this is a great way that you can kind of get your feet wet in a lot of different service areas and see what's going to be a great fit for you. Now, my work at home journey actually started long before I started working from home. Initially, I was involved in things like direct sales with companies like Arbonne and Tupperware. And that's how I got involved in a lot of the work at home forums that were going on at that time. But to be honest with you, direct sales is definitely a legitimate industry, but I was horrible at it. Selling was not especially in-person selling was really not my forte. So I did not find a lot of success in the direct sales industry, but being involved in those forums allowed me to start reading up on some of the other opportunities that were out there. And at that time I had a full-time job that I really loved, so I was really just looking for some ways to make extra money. And that brought me to things like mystery shopping and some of the small task sites that were available then and are still available now, like Amazon MTurk or Mechanical Turk. I have a whole video on that here on the YouTube channel, but that is how I first got involved in the work at home world. When I was on my lunch hour, I was doing hits on Amazon MTurk and just making a little bit of money there. And that kind of introduced me to, some of the opportunities that were available out there and some of the services that were needed, such as transcription and data entry, things like that I was doing on MTurk at that time. And I was just making, pennies per task, but it was a little way for me to make some money on the side while I was still holding down that full-time job. Now, as I fell more and more out of love with my full-time job, I started looking for ways that I could earn a full-time income from home. And I wanted that to happen rather quickly. I didn't want to have a long transition. I was really ready to just leave my day job and start working from home full-time. So I started looking for opportunities that were going to provide me with that consistent paycheck and paying me an hourly wage and paying me on a consistent basis. And that brought me to customer service work. Now, customer service work is not most people's dream jobs. It certainly wasn't mine, but it was what I was willing to do at that time in order to get my income replaced ASAP. It was the holiday season. There were a lot of companies that were hiring. So I took a job with 2 different customer service companies, and I started, working from home full time doing customer service work. I was, on the phones, doing what I needed to do, getting an hourly wage, getting that full-time paycheck, and most of the time you're not able, there are a few companies that do offer full-time customer service positions. And some of those are even employee positions that will offer you benefits. In my case, they were 2 companies that were offering part-time positions. So I kind of had to piecemeal my way to a full-time check there. And that's often the case with online work. Now, while I was working those customer service jobs, my main priority at that point was to start my virtual assistant business. That is one of the things that was at the top of my priority list. I didn't want to work customer service long time, but I was willing to do it in order to get that paycheck coming in. But my goal was to get my virtual assistant business going. And within a couple of months of working those customer service jobs and doing my VA business on the side, I was able to leave those customer service jobs behind and focus solely on my virtual assistant business. Now, as a virtual assistant, again, I was doing a lot of different things. I was going where the work was and using the skills that I had in order to make that full-time paycheck happen. I had a lot of different clients, and I was working with the knowledge that I had and the demands of my clients in order to make it work. I was doing a lot of freelance writing for a long time. That there's still a huge demand for freelance writing. For a long time, I was working strictly with bloggers, helping them to, make sure that their posts were written and formatted and scheduled to be published. I was working on their email newsletters. I was doing comment moderation on their blogs. I was doing a lot of different things that are required to support a blogger's business. And there's so many bloggers out there today that are earning a full-time income and are more than willing to outsource some of those tasks to others. So if you have the desire to get involved in that industry, it may be one that you want to look into, especially if you do enjoy writing. With blogging, the majority of the work is revolving around content creation. And a lot of time that's written content. So we're talking about things like research, writing, formatting, editing. A lot of those different aspects go into blogging. So if that's an industry that you're interested in, you may want to look into that. I was also working for a few offline clients at that time too. Non-bloggers, non-website owners, people like authors and coaches and some different, really small solo business owners doing some of the things that they needed done, like customer service. There were a couple of companies that I answered their phones like an online receptionist. And especially when it comes to phone work, like I said before, it's not an industry that a lot of people think that they want to be involved in. So there's always a lot of demand there. And a lot of people have trouble finding someone that can handle their customer service or can answer their phones in some of those, whether they're at lunch or they're taking the day off and they just need someone to be on call to answer those phones. If it's something that you're willing to do, that may be a service that you may want to consider offering. Now, during those years as I was a virtual assistant, I also experimented on some other platforms as well. I did have services that I offered on Fiverr that only took me a few minutes to complete, but it was another platform in which I could offer my services and get clients. And at that time, there was a big demand for the services that I was offering, and a lot of those were repeat customers. And it was just another way for me to fill that client funnel and get some more work. And that may be something that you want to consider as well, is offering your services on some of the different platforms that are out there. But one thing you do need to consider if you are going to put your services on a third-party site like that is you do need to consider the fees. With Fiverr, the services that I was offering were, they didn't take me more than 10 minutes at a time to complete. So between the fees and some of the other things that were involved, it was still important to make sure that you're getting a profit. So you don't want to be offering services for $5 that are going to take you an hour to complete. You need to make sure that you always have your bottom line as a top priority. Now, there was also a time during those years that I was doing data entry for a company. I don't believe that the company I was working for at that time still hires remote workers. But one thing to know about data entry, as I know it's going to come up in the comments, it's such a popular industry that there is going to be a lot of companies that aren't even going to pay you $3 an hour to do their work. This company did pay a good wage, but I was also on the wait list for them for over 3 years. And that is pretty typical of data entry work. It is something that is really entry level, so the companies are either going to offer, next to no pay, or if they are offering a good wage, there is probably going to be a really long wait list. So that is something that you need to keep in mind. And it may be, if you have fast typing skills, there are some other great industries that you can consider, like transcription. Now, as I was working as a virtual assistant to other bloggers, I was also building up my own blog. And that is how I earn a full-time income today, is strictly from my blogging endeavors over at The Work at Home Wife. And there, my income is really diversified, just as it always has been. I've always had a lot of different avenues that are bringing in money, and that's really the best way to do it when you're working from home. You never want to have all of your eggs in one basket, because companies do come and go over time. And it's not unusual to wake up one morning and the company that you've been contracted with is no longer in existence, or they are no longer going to be contracting remote workers. So it's something you really need to have in the back of your head all of the time, and make sure that you are diversifying your income and that you have different avenues available to you at a moment's notice, and also that you're saving some money back if you can, so that you aren't in a bad place if one of these incidents should happen. And getting back to my blog, some of the ways that I've diversified my income over there is through affiliate marketing. There are a lot of products that I promote on my blog that I earn a commission if someone clicks over and signs up or makes a purchase. I also do sponsored posts from time to time. That's not really my favorite way to make money, but it is something that it can be lucrative in the right situations. I also have ads up on my site that earn me money. And from time to time over the years, I've also sold my own products, whether it's ebooks or courses. And those can be a great way to earn money through your blog. And blogging also brought me to YouTube. And this is another way that I've diversified my income. YouTube pays me, I make money here through the ads that they place on my videos. So this is just another way that I am monetizing my online life and making sure that I do have a lot of different avenues that are coming in and helping contribute to my bank account. And over the years, I've had a lot of other things that I've used to make money on the side. From time to time, I will do some online flipping. I had a video here recently where I talked about how I had sold some books off that, I had on my bookshelf that I'm no longer going to read. I sold those and, earned some fast cash that way. I've also sold things on eBay or Poshmark in order to just make some extra cash. It's not something that I do regularly, but if there is something that I have lying around that's worth some money that I no longer want, I will go ahead and list it online for sale. And that's a great way to make some fast cash. And I always make sure that I am getting cash back whenever I am shopping if I can. I use a lot of these great apps that are available today, like Ebates or Ibotta, that are paying me cash back for some of the purchases that I have to make. If you're going to be shopping these days, you may as well see if you can get any cash back from those purchases. And as always, you're probably doing surveys right now for a little bit of extra cash, and those are some ways that I still have in existence today. Swagbucks is still a great little site that I use frequently in order to, make some extra money that I use most of my Swagbucks earnings for Amazon gift cards, but they will also pay you through PayPal if you request if you redeem your earnings that way. Otherwise, you can get gift cards to a lot of great popular sites. And when we're talking about legitimate surveys, Pinecone Research is another one that you may want to look into if you're not already a panelist there. That was one of my first The first surveys that I signed up for back in the day, it was really hard to get into Pinecone Research, but it is a great little survey site. They pay $3 per survey. It's not going to be something that you're going to get a ton of surveys from, but $3 is pretty nice when those surveys do pop up, and it's a legitimate survey site that you can get involved in as a panelist. And I'll make sure I leave a link to that in the description below. Now, as I said in the beginning of this video, and as you can see from all of the different jobs that I have had over the years, you're not marrying your first work-at-home job. Take the opportunity to try out some different industries and see if there are different things that you like. You know, maybe you don't have the best typing skills, so something like transcription or data entry is going to be out of the picture for you, and that's perfectly fine. There is probably going to be another industry that's going to be a great fit for you based on your individual skills and interests. So take some time to try out some different things, different opportunities, research some of the ideas that are out there. I would caution you against doing too much research. Sometimes we get into that rut where we overthink things to the point that we never get started in anything. So make sure that you are being cognizant of that little fact there, and make sure that you are moving forward all of the time. If something isn't working out, move on to the next thing. There are going to be some work-at-home jobs that pay great and some that don't. There's going to be some that are really flexible and some that aren't. There's just a lot of variety out there. There's something to fit everyone's needs. You just need to take the time to find it. Now, we have gone over a lot of different things today, so if you do have questions about a specific topic, make sure that you leave me a comment below. I'm more than happy to answer that and to direct you to some further resources on specific industries if you need them, or maybe create a video in the future about a specific industry if there's one that I haven't covered yet. So go ahead and leave me a comment below with any questions that you have. As always, if you like this video, please give it a like and a share, and make sure that you're subscribed so you'll get notification of my next video. Until then, I wish you best of luck in your work-at-home job search.